Uh, Welcome to the Striving Novelists Support Group. Uh, we'll try this out. This is our first time trying to do it this way, live stream. So technical difficulties are expected and welcomed, I guess. So
So far, so good.
yeah,
Yeah.
so far so good. Yeah, we've had a few of those already. Um, so I guess for anybody who actually comes across this, the way we typically are do operate this writing support group is we are first going around and talk about what happened this week for our personal writing, just kind of going the rounds. So we'll start with that. Um, who wants to give that a go to start us off?
I can go.
All right.
So last week I was telling you guys that I was giving myself the week to revise my manuscript for my upcoming YA novel, and I'm happy to say that I'm done. I have like a 2 or 3 pages at the end, but I revised the whole 60,000 word manuscript, and going back to checking the notes and stuff, and yeah, so I really worked really hard and just focused on finishing this weekend, and I think that I don't want to even think about it so much anymore. I just gonna tweak the last details and then hope to have it ready.
That's excellent news. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
that's fantastic.
That's
Lisa.
you put the rest of us to shame for the week, I guess. So
Yes.
No, I think
yeah.
I had I read somewhere that if you give yourself a 6 month deadline or a 6 week deadline or 6 hours or whatever, you're gonna make it. So I gave
Mhm.
myself a week deadline, and I just like did everything that I could to be able to finish on time so that I can get to work on other things that are pending and also be like there with the deadlines.
It's great. Great job, Elisa.
Thank you.
Who's got another confession?
I'll jump in next. I finished chapters 6 through 9 and turned my whole thesis in. So I was very excited about that, the rough draft.
That's nice.
And
Yeah.
now I'm working on putting it into the template for
hmm
our graduate program. And I also submitted a story to Hayden's Ferry, not a story, it was the first the first 20 pages of
Mhm.
my novel to Hayden's Ferry
Mhm.
review for a contest, a fiction contest. So I'm kind
That's
of
good.
excited. I feel like it's at the point where I can submit little pieces of it as I continue to edit. So this week is all for editing and oh, that's for later, isn't it? Sorry.
Mhm.
No, that yeah, we'll go with it. But that's great. Like the submission thing. We really do need to figure out when we can start doing our submission party together
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
that'd be.
Subs and
Yeah.
I really
grinders.
need the encouragement.
Yeah, too. I'll go next because mine's a true confession in that I didn't do anything. So,
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't do any writing,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
yeah, that's good. That
Yeah.
is good. Actually, that can be very good. So, um, I had for my personal projects, I didn't have an awful lot. I've been mostly, or sorry, for my writing specific, writing only projects, it kind of bleeds together. I did an awful lot of reading for my podcast that so and did some work with that. I had two interviews last week, so we'll hopefully be starting to publish here in about
Yeah.
3 weeks. Um,
Cool.
starting those.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
Excited.
And then yeah, my wife's actually she's got two classes for the end of her semester here, and one of them is one of those half semester classes, so it's like compressed and crunch time and everything. But that is going through the end of February, so we're really just trying we're trying to survive through February as well for those reasons. So um, yeah. Anyway, uh, hopefully opening up on that soon. I I'd done some stuff a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned the organizing stuff and getting ready to get back into it. So I'm going to get back into my middle grade project. That is a goal.
Yeah.
So anyway, next thing that we usually do is we kind of have anybody have a writing topic, and Elisa was actually just mentioning she had a good one to kind of discuss.
Yeah, based on the moment that I'm at, I've been working for a decade on this project and it's been through two different, like one class in the program and then an independent study, two different writing groups, the summer program. Like I think that I've been tweaking and working on it for so long that now that I'm almost done, I don't know when to stop. Like when do you stop asking for advice, or when do you stop trying to tweak it? I'm at the point where I don't even want to read it anymore. Like I just want to believe that it's done and just like send it out. And at the same time, it's one opportunity that you need to really, it needs to be in the best shape possible. So I was wondering your take on that. Like, how do you know when it's done, when something is done and ready to send out to submissions or to publish or to anything?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I've heard it said that like when you read it and you feel like you could like put it on the bookshelf at the store and someone would not, like if in the perfect world it had all the binding, all the everything, and you put it on the bookshelf, someone would think it was just another book that they picked up, not like it doesn't still need any type of work in your opinion. And if it feels that way to you, if it feels like it's ready to be, you know, at your local bookshop on the shelf, then that's when you know it's ready.
But how do you make yourself feel that way? Like as a
Yeah.
writer, because I know I see Elisa's point that this is something where you know what you had originally, like somebody who picks up the book on the shelf, they see what you wrote, but you know what you intended. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's always that gap. I was just talking to Maketa about like that gap, that vision that you have, and
Mm-hmm.
then where you're able to level your work up to, like you see that does that read as a flaw, or does that read as I still want to try and push it in this direction, or when do you let go of the baby?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I
and one
think
of the
at some
things that,
point,
no, go ahead, Michelle.
I was just gonna say it's so much easier with a short story because like
Mm-hmm.
you can, or a shorter piece, like because you can let it go and then submit it places and then after a while go, oh, maybe this needs to be reworked. But with a longer piece like that, I think at some point you just have to trust your gut on it and send it out, knowing that it's going to go through an agent, possibly an editing
Mm-hmm.
process. And there's still going to be things that need to be done
Yeah.
that someone
Yeah.
else is going to come at you with.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point you kind of have to trust that your gut, that it's as ready as it can be, knowing that. And the other day I was reading a book and I found two typos in the book. And it was, it was a book that has been,
Did you
many
call the
copies.
publisher and
No,
complain
I
and
didn't.
demand
I didn't. One time I did that. It was
angry
some
mob?
type of book and a whole section was missing in this one
Oh,
edition. And I ended up,
oh,
I did point it out.
that's
I
that's
did.
hilarious. There was when I was in high school, there was you always get like the school binding copies. They just kind
Mm-hmm.
of pass them out and stuff. There was a misprint in the one that I got. I don't remember which book it was, but like the last page was missing. And I read this, and I guess there was some significant thing that they were talking about on the last page. I read it, and it was like, huh, okay. It's felt like
Mm-hmm.
an ending. Like the last page, I guess, was just extending things. It wasn't like, and I was like, oh, okay. So, and then I'm listening in class. I'm like, what is everybody talking about? And finally, I asked her, like, oh no, it's the last page. Not on my not on my copy.
Yeah, not my last page.
So I guess
Yeah.
that's, it's never going to be perfect ever,
Yeah.
you know, and
The one thing that I do want to do before I send it out is I want to go like a control find with
Mhm.
gestures and words that I
Mm.
overuse and how many times they stop up, how many raised eyebrows, how many shrugs, stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
make sure that
Look
I'm
for
not repeating. Yeah.
run it through like a word cloud
Yes.
program of
Yeah.
some kind first to get those.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what that word cloud. I don't. Oh, I don't. How does that
yeah,
work?
have you seen
I
those like
was
on
planning like a control find in Word, like a
Oh no,
normal one.
there's have you, they'll like analyze word frequency and the most frequent it'll give you a cloud. They used to have them on blogs all the time with tags where like the more common ones were bigger and then the smaller ones were less frequent, and so it give you the common things, and the bigger they are the more common they are. I think there's some programs that can analyze text, but if that's what you want to do, you could
Yeah.
look at that and get
Yeah.
a head
I'm
start.
sure someone said Scrivener does this to you, to your work. Maybe I also just
Maybe.
like make a, yeah, I think it does. I want to analyze that because I know that we always fall onto the things we're comfortable with, and since my novel most of the time or some of the time they're in a space that doesn't have much to do because it's just a blank space, then I rely on how the characters relate to each other. So I just need to make sure that I'm not overusing certain things. That's something that I do want to do before I
Whatever
send
you
it out.
find for that, let us know, and
Yeah.
because that'd be a good thing to share.
that's a good share. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Of course I will. I want to do that. I wanted to send out the manuscript like this week, but I'll just take my
Yeah.
time doing those sort of things. But the thing is that like my daughter said, send it to me and I'll read it for you. And she's like, Mom, and I know the thing that I most struggle with in my writing is that I'm so plot driven and more like a screenwriter in a sense many times that I fail to stop when I need to stop in like just give the character some time. And so she's marking the spaces like, Mom, you can slow down here and you can slow down here and give me more a little bit here. So that's, I think that's going to be the last thing that I'm going to do. And my husband, who's an engineer and has a completely business mindset, is like, when you send it out, they're going to make a lot of changes. Why are you so worried about making it perfect when they're going to change it anyway? So yeah.
That's
And you have to
that's
think about your time and what other projects you want to work on. And if you spend 10 years, 20 years on the same thing and can't let it go, you're never going to get to that next thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And you have lots of stories.
I wonder though if you just like, okay, do like what you're planning on doing on it, like, and then let it sit and just like take a period of reading, like just read books that are in your genre, read, just give it give your mind like a break from your specific one, and then give it one last read where you really like see how it feels after you've been digesting other authors in your genre, and see where you fit, and then even if it's just like a month, just like give yourself a break from it so that you like can see it fresh.
You ever read it out loud, Lisa?
No, I haven't read out. I usually read my things out loud to I think I'll do one last go around reading it out loud. The thing, Josie, is that I left it for like alone for 2 months, and I focused on the other project. So I am seeing
That's
it.
true.
I don't even remember some of like I wrote this. Like, when did I write this? I don't know if that ever happens
That's
to you
right.
when you reread your stuff. Like, I don't even remember
it's
writing
nice
this.
when that's like, ooh, that's actually pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
I
way
forgot.
better. Yeah,
I forgot that you had like an actual break. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
because you were working on your other project. So
yes. So it hasn't been like continual work on this. So, but I do want to. I think doing the word thing, like just the gestures and the overused words, and then reading it out loud. I think because I do read my stuff, and I always catch myself. And when I work with the kids with their essays, with their college essays, that's the first thing that I say. We have to read this out loud because I always catch the thing. So
when you hear
that's gonna
tone
be
and
another one.
dialogue out loud,
Yeah,
It's a good
you
strategy.
Yeah, I love that tip.
I-
I'm gonna do that too.
I
It's
think
gonna take a while,
those are
but
some good like polishing like things, and I like that tip. I think
Mhm,
it's like Michelle said, it's not y- if you're waiting until you know that it's done versus when you know that it's perfect, like there may be two different answers there, like because
yeah,
it's not, and you're going to be, it's not done. Like, is it
mhm,
done to send out? Like you send it to an agent and they're going to, you know, have their own opinions, and maybe they'll have some insights, and maybe there will be some additional editing and stuff like that after you get an agent. But maybe treat it like a short story though, like because you send stuff out or a short story, and if you get enough like rejections that have similar feedback, then you start looking at that feedback, and
mhm,
maybe there's a revision round there, and then you
yeah,
send it to more agents because
Well,
you're
and I
not
also
you,
think
you
your
know.
relation. Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Michael. But your
No, you're not gonna.
relationship with the editor you met, I think she can she's going to give it a good look, and you're going to get feedback from her. It's not like you need to send it out to 10, 15
Yeah,
of them
yeah,
and
yeah.
worry that you've sent it too soon and you're going to lose those opportunities
I
because
true.
you've
think
got a
that's the other
connection.
thing is there's other opportunities too. Like if
Yeah,
you have somebody, and I think you're worried about this looking as good as it can for this one person,
yeah,
but how many people are there in the book industry that like these editors or agents that if they're like, yeah, I don't see how this is going to work for me. Yeah, two reasons. One, you don't want to take that too hard if that ends up
mhm.
being the case,
Yes,
because
I'm
it
bracing
might
myself.
not be for that
Mhm,
person, but there's another person who it is for. And then secondly, because you don't want to spend all your time, worrying about whether it is perfect, because it's not. There's going to be, even if it is good enough for this or this submission round, you're going to have to come back and fix some other things afterwards.
mhm,
And eventually, it is a matter of just like it's got published and I walk away. Um, and there's probably still things that I want to fix with it. But I think that maybe the issue, maybe something to question is m- not so much so there's your relationship with the work, and then there's this relationship with this agent or editor that you want to impress. And there is no one agent,
mhm,
one editor that has to be it, because if it ends up not being for them, there's a huge books full of agents and editors, that Writers Digest puts out. So,
yeah.
and they don't even have them all. So,
Yeah,
Right.
I was telling my husband and my kids yesterday that I'm it's scary. Finishing it's scary.
mhm,
I kind of anticipated it being so scary, but at the same time I need to overcome that and just like send it out and believe in whatever I wrote.
yeah,
And getting so close to it, it's just it's another process that I wasn't even expecting in a way.
mhm,
So yeah, but I'll try to just do the last two, three things and not think it so much. And I know based on what happened with the other project where they did send it to an agent and she read it and then she sent like this isn't working, you need to change this and that. So I'm aware that happens.
mhm.
And I think someone said that from the agent interviews over the summer, that there were agents who said that they like to receive work that isn't 100% there so that they can have some sort of
Yeah.
input. So
That was
maybe.
Armada, Christian Armada. She mentioned she likes to have some sort of be able to contribute as an
Hmm.
agent, being able to help shepherd some work in and
Hmm.
contribute some things.
Well, and you can self-impose deadlines because at some point,
Yeah,
like once this
Hmm.
book gets published, then you're
yeah,
going to have maybe you'll have an agent and an editor who are going to say, okay, we need the first 500 pages or
yeah,
100 pages or whatever by this deadline. And then you don't have the opportunity to sit there and make it
Yeah.
perfect. You have to get it out.
yeah.
So maybe give
M-
yourself a deadline. I'm going to send this on this day
Yeah.
Maybe
and
That's
do
send it
everything
out to
you can
some
do.
other agents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Don't send it to
first?
that one. Send it to some other agents and see, so that you're not emotionally tied up in this.
The process.
It's more about this is the regular submission process. It's not about this relationship that I'm building up, and hopefully trying to take some of that out of it and send it out, and then maybe even before you hear back from them, then send it to this.
Yeah, that would be an interesting take. It would be really interesting to receive feedback on. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, Michael. That's an interesting take.
And then you could say, "Oh, well, other people want it, but I
Yeah.
promised that I would send it to you."
To you, yeah.
I would give you first right of refusal.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep you posted, but that's
Yeah,
where I'm
that's a
at.
great question though, because I think we all struggle with that. And there's so many reasons things don't get accepted too. It's
Mhm.
maybe they just published 3 books in that genre and they're looking for something else at the time you send it. It's the same with the short story process.
Yeah,
And you just
and
have to have faith.
I really like, for example, the New York City Midnights,
Hmm.
because you have to turn it in by a
Mhm.
certain time,
Yeah.
so it takes away the self-doubt because you don't have time to deal with that. You just have to turn it in.
Yeah.
And the
So I
feedback
think,
is great.
yes, the feedback is great. I'm really excited. Actually, I want to share with you the last story that I wrote, eventually, because I'm waiting for. I think that you can't send it out to submissions until you hear back from them. But I'm gonna hear back from them, I think, in April with this challenge. But I really want to have it ready to send out because I really like that, how it
That's
turned out.
great.
So
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Nice.
Well, that's another skill. I've like a writing skill that gets overlooked. I've heard the advice like completing something is a skill too, which is why sometimes they'll suggest working on short stories, not because
Hmm.
short stories are supposed to be practice or they're not can't be as good as a novel, but because um, you can complete it, and that itself, practicing bringing it to completion and walking away is something that I have not yet mastered, but is a it's also a writing skill that um, needs practice too.
Yeah, knowing when it's done, like just
Mhm.
Yeah, because
walking
sometimes you get
away.
hung up and you're just like hanging there, and that's when things end up half done in a drawer.
Yeah, or like Kafka that burned
Yeah,
everything that he
yeah.
wrote.
There you go. That seems therapeutic. Maybe
Yeah,
might be a good.
maybe we should do that.
So I think that was a good discussion topic. When is it done? And I'm sure there's plenty more. I'm sure it's different for everything too. Like,
Hmm.
maybe it's harder to know whenever it's something that's unfamiliar to you, like something that you're not used to working on too.
I see your pop back there.
Yes, I saw a little head.
Did the dog do all those paintings?
Yes,
Yes,
gifted.
of course he did. Yeah, I saw him get on the couch and just a little head, but then he heard me and he's right here.
Um, well, does everybody want to go around for next week, and we'll say this is our topic done. We rambled a little bit less this time, but that's probably good for this round.
Yeah, no,
Especially.
but
So,
I think we got out. I mean, yeah, food for thought. Actually, something I wanted to mention before we finish. Someone in my capstone mentioned that there are also softwares that read aloud the things for you,
yeah,
so that you don't have.
it's
So I'll maybe try that as well.
That's a
Maybe.
good
hearing it in
idea.
a different voice.
Yeah.
And
'cause you
listen
might.
to it.
I've
Yeah.
done that too, where I'm reading something out loud and I'll read what I thought I wrote
Hmm.
instead
Yeah.
of what I actually
Yeah.
wrote.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
Now, does the
Yeah.
voice sound natural?
They were saying that some do and some are not as well. I remember. I
I
should
think
have
there's
maybe
some
I
paid versions maybe where you can get
Mhm.
like celebrity
Yeah.
voices, but they're obviously
No.
automated.
Yeah, if I had Matthew McConaughey, I think I would get distracted. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be that wouldn't
Or
be necessarily
Bono.
a good thing. Yeah, like yeah.
Let Bono sing
Um,
it to you.
that sounds lovely.
Well,
I always think
all
like,
right.
yeah, exactly. I always think like, who would be the person to write the theme song to my book? Have you ever thought of that, or I'm the only
Theme
weird
song.
one?
That's
Like
a good question.
I always think. I mean, and my project's named Synchronicity, and The Police has two songs named Synchronicity, Synchronicity 1 and Synchronicity 2. And Sting is like my all-time favorite artist and childhood crush. So Sting would be right there. Like he
No,
had
I
where
think
to
you should
write.
just have Matthew McConaughey do your theme song too.
I think so
Yes.
It
too.
just be
Yeah.
he could build an 80s style theme song with like completely cheesy lyrics that just go on and on. And you have like the long version and the cut version that they actually play. You should yeah. That's a soundtrack. Like what's the soundtrack for your book? Like
Yeah.
maybe
have
we
a
can talk
novel
about that sometime
playlist.
in the future too.
Yeah.
Like
I have a novel playlist that I listen to, and each of my characters have their songs that resonate. And when I'm kind of stuck for ideas, I drive, listen to it, and
right on.
get
I have
inspired.
some songs that are like attached to my novel.
All right. Maybe homework. Find your playlist.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Do a playlist. That's a really good
That's good.
idea. I hadn't thought. I always think of when they do the movie and the theme and the theme song. That's where I go to. But having a playlist sounds super cool, especially when you have songs that represent each of your characters. That would be great to publish with your book, like so that your readers can have like your
I've seen
QR code or something. Yeah.
some people doing that.
Hmm.
Was it Stephanie Meyer had her playlist that she wrote Twilight to, and that's how some of the songs ended up in the movie because they were songs that she was listening to when she
Oh,
wrote.
that's cool.
Hmm.
Early on, I did that Story Street article, and I attached my
Yeah.
playlist to it.
We could
Yeah,
follow up
true.
Yeah,
on
that was a
the,
while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That might be a good video too, like talking about, how to, because how do you keep it from distracting you too? Like the music being distraction. Some people need
I don't play it
a
while I
little
write.
distraction. Some people
I
don't. So
have to have
Yeah.
music in the background. I have, and especially because I go to cafes and I'm wearing, I need something to block it out. But even if I'm in my room, and sometimes there are people knocking on my door or something, and I don't hear them because I wear like to block everything out. I use the headphones, and I switch between classic like soundtrack movie soundtracks, like classical, and also I listen to Sting, and I also like when it has to have like a mellow like I also do Billie Eilish, the slow songs, and Taylor Swift sometimes. It's not that I love Taylor Swift, but since they don't have a lot of they're not so like the last album was so like that I could listen to it without paying attention. So
yeah.
That's every
Yeah.
artist's dream for someone to listen to their music without paying attention.
That's right. That's why I put so much attention to. That's Spotify's dream, though. They have all the AI slop they're throwing in there now.
yeah.
All
It
right.
becomes
Well,
background noise.
okay. So we did actually manage to find a little deviation. It's great.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about that. We should talk about that as a topic with other people, with more people next time, maybe.
About music, I think like what do you do
Writing
to
playlists.
concentrate? That was and it also that's a great topic.
Finding
Okay.
concentrate. Yeah, maybe we could put that in the pin in that. No promises. Maybe that won't be next week's topic, but we'll see. We'll put it a pin sometime. We want to go around for next week though and see.
Yes. Yeah.
Say what we're gonna do.
Okay, since
Who
I
wants to
started
go
last
first?
time, I think I can go first.
Go for it.
So I'm leaving on Thursday on a trip for the weekend, but I think I'll still have time to do stuff. But so before that, I want to check the overused words in my manuscript, finish the first, the last chapter that's I'm almost there, and then give it a check the words, check the gestures, change that stuff, and just I think I'm gonna let it rest until next week, and then I'll Monday read out loud or have someone read it for me and send it out and not think about it, just let it go. So that's gonna be my week.
Mine is super simple. I'm going to continue chapter by chapter to do final edits and plug it into the thesis template. And then I have to write my abstract and my dedication and all those frontispiece portions. So
It's great. It's great to hear at the end. So
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I am going to just write this week, something at all. It doesn't have to necessarily be on my novel. It can be a short story. It can be, the goal is just to write something. But I've got a lot of like other obligations this week, so
yeah,
gonna
it's
find
great.
some balance.
That's fine. Doing
Mm-hmm.
being kind to yourself. Like don't be one of those tech bro slave drivers for yourself to try and demand all the productivity and sleeping next to your desk and stuff. Like, you know, you're writing for your life, not the other way around. So, I've got stuff going on, some editing to do. I've got a bunch of reading to do, trying to get stuff going. But and obviously we got some stuff on Story Street coming up that, you know, we still gotta get scheduled. But yeah, I'm thinking what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna try and get some. I have one or two stories that I think I can make myself submit some things and actually get to doing some submission. I have a couple of tweaks that I want to do on one of them that I think it needs, that I know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it, and it would be an easy thing to step into. So I'm gonna actually try and connect with some of these things and maybe get some submissions done. Which is not my strongest suit either. So, all right. Yeah, that's this week. Live stream, doing it live. Damn it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
We did it.
we'll see how that goes. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks everybody.
right.
See you guys in the next week or in the interwebs.
Sounds good. Thanks, Michael.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
All right. No, I was just gonna stop the. Okay.
Yeah.
We could stay on after I stop the stream, and we